This interview is being brought to you by BabyFightGear.com. Baby Fight Gear is dedicated to providing a single source for children's mixed martial arts. Inspired clothing, the softer side of tough sports. Our clothing is available in sizes newborn to toddler. Okay, guys, welcome to Late Night MMA, and we roll on. Let's bring in George Roop. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing awesome. We were supposed to see you throw down a few weeks back at UFC 149 in Calgary. What happened?
Man, I just had, I hurt myself in training, and I didn't feel 100% going into the fight, and I wasn't even really able to even start training, man. Up until a few weeks ago. So I thought it was the best decision not to go into a fight, injured, and I wanted to be 100% for my next fight, especially against a real tough opponent.
Yeah, for sure, man. And your next fight's going to be very important. Is that one of the factors that went into it?
Absolutely, man. I feel like, I'm backed up against the wall right now, and, I just want to have a great showing, and, I don't want to go in. I just want to go and leave my fight with, no regrets like I do every one of my fights.
What are you thinking? When do you think we can see a return to the octagon?
Well, I'm shooting for the Macau card in China. So November 10th is the kind of I definitely want to fight on the China card, but I'm definitely willing to fight before the China card as well. So hopefully I can get another 2 fights in this year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. That China card's going to be kind of crazy, eh?
Definitely, I just feel it's a new fan base for the UFC. It's the first time UFC going there, and it's a good way to touch a whole new fan base with the UFC.
Yeah, did you find some of the guys don't like traveling overseas?
Yeah, man. I know a lot of people don't, and I actually rather stay pretty close to home too. But I think it'll be a real cool trip if I do get on that card, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen. Then I'm thinking, I'll go out there, even a few weeks earlier just to try to, catch up with the jet lag and definitely try to acclimate to the time change.
Okay, man, so you fought at lightweight, heavyweight, not heavyweight, but you know what I mean, lightweight, bantamweight, you've done them all, man. Not quite heavyweight, but what's your favorite weight division to compete in?
The featherweight division is definitely my favorite division to compete in, just because it's actually really easy for me to make weight. A lot of people think I'm a huge 45er, and I'm actually not. I don't walk around as big as a lot of these 45ers. I am tall, but, when I step on the scale, I'm not as heavy as these other guys, and I know that. But, it's an easy weight for me to make, but I also feel twice as strong as a lot of these people.
Is there a fight out there that you think would be a fun fight to have, or at this point, is it just about getting the W?
Man, I know exactly who I want to fight right now, and that's whoever they put in front of me. At this point, I've asked for a few fights, man, and I don't think it's going to happen. So, at this point, man, I'm just ready to go. And, I feel like, I've fought some of the best competition in the 145-pound division. I don't know if, they think I'm a stepping stone, for all these other fighters, man, but, I've definitely proved that wrong, but I just want to get, I want to get in the win column, and I definitely want to, get a good win streak going and, take it to these guys, man. I think that, every featherweight, should be looking out for me, man, and they better hope, when Sean Shelby calls them that it's not my name that comes up.
Okay, George, what moment stands out in your mind as a career highlight?
Well, I feel like a fight that, has really, helped me turn the corner was the Josh Crispy fight. I had a really great performance in that fight. I was able to mix it up and, and all that. I know a lot of people want to say, the Korean Zombie fight where I knocked him unconscious, and I'm sure that'll always be a highlight reel, knockout for me.
Sure.
And, I agree with that. It was it was a good fight. But, I asked for that fight, I knew I was going to knock him out. I knew the way he comes forward. It's just, it's just not it's not the way you fight, man. And so, I knew that was going to happen, and I thought that was an easier fight, for me. But, I really felt, I turned the corner during the Josh Crispy fight. I really got to show a lot of my tools and, put a good beating on him.
Speaking of the Korean Zombie, a guy you're familiar with, Mark Hominick, he struggled against the Korean Zombie. Did that fight surprise you?
Oh, absolutely. I think it surprised a lot of people. I think if Mark Hominick were able to get that fight back, I think it'd be a different kind of fight. Korean Zombies looks really real good, man, since I took his head off. So I think it made him change his style quite a bit. I think he's trying to take his fights to the ground a little bit more and utilize his ground game, which he has a good ground game. So hats off to him. He's done a good job in winning in impressive fashion. But don't get me wrong, he's not a title contender like he's trying to say he is either.
Just speaking about Hominick, that guy is so amazing. He's just been in the ruts, and you don't want to say it's all because of Sean Tompkins passing, but it is kind of crazy, isn't it, man? How he struggled?
Yeah, it's definitely, I know a lot of people kind of want to put that two and two together, saying how, that Sean Tompkins passed and that's why, but, I really don't believe that, man. I just think that, he's fighting some top caliber guys, and he's had some tough matchups, and that's the way the sport goes. Especially when you're in the UFC, you're fighting the top quality opponents. You're not fighting these local shows. We could be I think guys in the UFC, if you're just fighting the local shows, you're going to be undefeated. Fighting these shows, but you're fighting the best guys in the world when you're in the UFC, and anybody can win on any given day when you're in there.
Yeah, and with this streak that Korean Zombie has been on, obviously he's pushing that he wants the title shot, like you mentioned. Doesn't that build your self-esteem every win he gets because, you can take him out?
Yeah, well, I mean, you always, of course it does. Yeah, just honestly, of course it does. You always want to see the guys that, that you fight. You want to see them do well. Because it it holds your stock higher. I feel, when the Korean Zombie wins, it kind of increases my stock, a little bit, and you might not hear a lot of fighters, saying this, but they all think it deep down inside.
Okay, man, you haven't had a problem with having a weak chin, that's for sure. But some of these KOs on the same guys are starting to look pretty bad, man. Do you think concussions big aspect to the sport? We just aren't hearing about it.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think that that people take us as fighters, we take toll, and it's a lot. It's not in the fight where we take the toll. I know a lot of people think that oh, they're getting knocked out. They're getting their butt kicked in the fight, but it's in the training room is where you're getting hit. That's where we put in our work, man. We put in our work in the training room. We put in more sparring hours. We get hit, 1,000 times more in our training than we do in fights. Regardless of even if it's a Leonard Garcia, Chan Sung Jung type fight, you're still getting. Yeah, I'm sure they got hit a lot more throughout their whole training session than they did in those fights. So, I just really believe that that's where it is, and I think there is kind of an issue there that maybe we can kind of get past and maybe get some research done into.
Yeah, we were talking to Jonathan Goulet, the Road Warrior. He had a pretty decent UFC career, but he was one of these guys that came forward with his hands down, and he threw down, he'd take a punch to throw a punch, and he had to retire from the UFC at 33 due to concussions. I do think it's a bigger story that's really not being covered.
Yeah, I absolutely agree it is. I've actually cut my sparring sessions back. I am like I train in a lot of gyms. So when I go into a gym, you have everybody and their mama. They're like, oh, Roop, let's mix it up, man, let's spar. So I used to spar twice a day, 6 times, 6 days a week. I'd be sparring 12 times, 12 times a week, which is just,
Wow.
it's ridiculous, to do something like that. And I agree with you. I think that concussions are a big, thing in the sport of mixed martial arts, and not only in the fight, but in training as well. So I had to evaluate that and take a look back, and now I've cut, my sparring sessions down to 2 to 3 times a week. And I mean, I know a lot of people think you should only spar once a week, but I mean, I just can't do that. I just can't do that.
Well, we appreciate the time. Hopefully we see you fighting in China on that card or a card before that. Any sponsors you want to throw out or promote your Twitter or Facebook?
Well, definitely hit Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm always following up to, I like to see what the fans are thinking, and if they want to throw an opponent out there, that would be, it's always good to hear from me. But I'd definitely like to thank, all my training partners at Apex. We have a lot of future stars there and everything. So, my main training partner, my Double Dragon, Ed Wild West, definitely. We got Birdcheck, Freddie Lutz, we got Nick Nitro Rhodes. We got a lot of real tough training partners out there. So I'd like to thank all my training partners at Apex. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the man of the hour, and that's myself.
Awesome, man. We appreciate it.
All right, sweet. Thank you, guys.